welcome everyone to the Virgo Unfiltered radio show. Thank you to everyone who's listening for my very first episode that is live. Today we're going to be talking about weaponizing the web and specialized stalking online forums. But before we get into that, I would like to let everybody know a couple of things. Number one, I know those of you that have had some trouble registering. I did a video on my YouTube channel to kind of help you guys out a little bit. If that does not help, because I'm still getting information from people saying they're still having problems, I have sent a support ticket over to Blog Talk Radio customer support, and I'm hoping they'll get back to me with a link that will make it much easier for everybody to register for their listener account. I also want to let you know that the chat room is open for those of you that were able to register, and you're welcome to use that and ask questions as we go along, and I'll get to as many as possible. Hi, Mystic Mountain. I see you over there. Okay, so I also wanted to let you guys know that there is a guest call-in number. Now, keep in mind, today I'm not going to be taking actual call-ins. I'm getting used to this platform, so just give me a break for today. I'll be, doing some more research on it, making sure that I don't hang up on anybody or do anything crazy. But I do want to give you that number. It's my understanding that this number won't change. The guest call-in number is 646-787-1749. That's 646-787-1749. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get right into it today. This is going to be a 30-minute broadcast, which it will be from this point forward for a while, and then I will probably go to a full hour. Today we are going to be discussing a web forum called Kiwi Farms specifically, and you'll see how this kind of links together with the stuff that I've been doing for a couple of years on my YouTube channel, which incidentally, if you need that information, it is YouTube/Virgo Triad, or you can just go to the search engine and type in Virgo Triad, and it will pull up my YouTube channel for you. As the majority of you listening probably already know, I expose scams, con artists, and this radio show is about kind of broadening the horizon for me. This is something where I want to make sure that I'm addressing things like hate, bullying, stalking, that sort of thing on the web, which is happening a lot, and most recently to one of my very own subscribers. So this is very near and dear to me. With regards to weaponizing the web and the specialized stalking online forum being Kiwi Farms, I want to talk to you a little bit about this and kind of let you know who these folks are. A lot of people probably are not even aware of them. If you go to the kiwifarms.net website, you're going to see that down in the corner where it says About Us, it reads, the Kiwi Farms is about eccentric individuals and communities on the internet. We call them LOL cows or lol cows because they can be milked for amusement or laughs. Our community is bizarrely diverse, and spectators are encouraged to join the discussion. Now, I've done a lot of research on this group up to this point. As a matter of fact, I spent almost the entire weekend researching this group, and I could tell you stories that would pretty much curl your hair on what I found out. But I'm going to step back from that for a minute because I really want to address the bullying situation just in general. The reason I picked this group largely had to do with the fact that one of my subscribers was targeted because of this group. But there are many other groups, exactly the same type of groups as Kiwi Farms. Kiwi Farms is an online stalking group. Make no mistake about it. It is a hate group. It's a bunch of people that get together and try to dox people by giving out their personal information, and will even go as far as to do terrible things like sending mail packages full of pornography, getting people fired from their jobs. This is something that is becoming more and more prevalent across the web, and it's definitely something that's going to have to be addressed. I also want to make sure that I give you some steps at the end of this broadcast on how to keep yourself safe from bullying and from this kind of hate, especially since after you hear these couple of stories that relate to Kiwi Farms, you're going to understand why that's so important, even if you don't feel that you're potentially a target. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go over with you what's in the Intelligencer, which is actually just a blogger that deals with community issues. This person actually drafted up something on the Kiwi Farms and told us who the origins of Kiwi Farms, what the origins are of it. I'm going to go ahead and read just a little bit of this to you because I want you to understand where they started out. They started out as a stalking group. The origins of Kiwi Farms lie, as you might expect, on 4chan. We all know that that's an issue. In late 2007, Sonichu, a homemade comic book series mixing the Sonic and Pokemon franchises, came to the attention of the Anarchic, I believe is how it's pronounced, anonymous message boards video game community. Sonichu was the work of a self-described artist, gamer, and creative type named Christine Weston Chandler, later dubbed, using the horrific attachment to anyone unfortunate enough to come to the attention of 4chan, Chris Chan. Sonichu provided an unwittingly revealing look into Chandler's life and fantasy world. Users on the forum responded by mocking the art and its creator immediately. To them, Chandler was asking for harassment by putting the comics online. Within days of discovering Chris Chan, a profile about her was posted on Encyclopedia Dramatica. We'll talk about that one later. The wiki of record for 4chan and similar communities. After pleading with Ed's admins to remove the page, Chandler started vandalizing it, establishing an abuse reaction cycle in which the reward for provoking her was more fodder for the mob. Kiwi Farms, whose name wasn't coined that until 2014, grew out of the groups who harassed Chris Chan in 2007. Okay, now I want to talk to you about what happened after the fact. This group doesn't just stay online. For example, with Chandler, this is what ended up happening. They showed up in real life to document Chris Chan's court appearances, to photograph the Chandler's residence from the street. They also sent mail with pornography and things like that in it. They posted as journalists, former classmates, psychiatrists, potential business partners, and others on places like LinkedIn in order and in the hopes that these ruses yield more confidential information from others. The packages and the letters that were routinely sent to Chandler's residence many of them were opened by family members. And in one instance, someone sent prostitutes to visit Chandler's house and then called the family to taunt them about it. All right, now you can see how serious this can get out of hand, but it can get even worse. In the scenario with my subscriber, and I'm not going to name any names because the anonymity of that person is extremely important, especially right this minute. But my subscriber ended up being someone who was posted on Kiwi Farms. It's been several years that this has been going on and that she's been being stalked. And her roommate got wrapped up with this particular group. Apparently, her roommate believed what was on Kiwi Farms, although it's largely false. And as a result, on Friday, actually pulled a gun on her. This type of hate is just, it's unbelievable. It's abhorrent, but it's happening. And it's happening all across the web. These groups fit together in ways that you would not suspect. Or maybe some of you would suspect it. These groups fit together with a lot of the alt-right groups that we're actually seeing online on YouTube making videos about how to travel without a driver's license. Now, I am not talking about, again, remember, this is Virgo Unfiltered here, folks. We are not on the Virgo Triad channel, so I'm just going to say it outright. The claim that this is something political, okay, it's only political from one side. I am an independent. I have not one single issue with my friends that are Republicans, and I have not one single issue with my friends that are Democrats. I don't agree with everything, and some things I agree with both sides. However, the alt-right and the alt-left are two totally different animals from the normal mainstream political parties. And anyone who takes offense to me claiming alt-right or alt-left simply because they are a part of the mainstream party is just going to have to suck it up, okay? Because the truth is that the alt-right and the alt-left are both equally dangerous. It just happens to be that on my YouTube channel, because I deal with sovereign citizens and I deal with the Moorish and I deal with people that have largely been gathered together and self-proclaim themselves to be alt-right. Since that's the case, and that's what I'm dealing with in this world of scams over on YouTube, you're hearing a lot of alt-right, okay? That doesn't mean I agree with the alt-left. And it certainly doesn't mean that I have an issue with Republicans in general. However, there are some things that are similar with regards to these groups being on these online stalking forums and these groups that are out there spreading the patriot nonsense. And I'm not talking about being a American patriot. I shouldn't even really have to say that. I'm talking about the fact that these groups largely like to push hate. They like to push hate, and anybody that speaks out against them and anybody that has any knowledge of their internal workings of scams, fraud, theft, doxing people, bullying people, stalking people, they will try to take down. But these people don't even actually have to have that much fuel. In order to do what these people on KiwiFarms.net are doing, all they have to do is find somebody who is gay, transgender, not attractive, in their opinion, making a YouTube channel about crafts or arts. They pick on anyone they think looks funny, acts different, or maybe has a different ideology. They take it so far that they're showing up at people's homes, they're threatening people's family members, they're getting people fired from their jobs, and they're getting people's roommates to draw guns on them. Now, let me just say this. It is very, very illegal in most states to stalk online or cyberbully. There are some states that still need to work on their legislation. But for some reason, although this group was taken down back a while ago, a couple of different times, it sounds like, they keep popping back up. They've been up now for a while. This mess started with my subscriber back in 2013. This is how long she's had to deal with this group of individuals stalking her online. She's had to change screen names multiple times. She's very intelligent, very accomplished Ivy League college graduate, Ivy League university graduate. But she doesn't think like everyone else. She doesn't look like everyone else, in their opinion. So as a result of that, that makes her a target. Her own roommate, someone she would consider a friend, gets wrapped up with these people, and within a matter of a short period of time, gets a handgun and decides to draw it on her, not even giving her the opportunity to explain. This is how damaging these groups are. What I'm going to do, oh, hi, Springman. Okay, I see you there. I'm sorry. I know. We're going to have to work out the kinks, you guys, and I am so sorry for that. It's just one of those things that when you're doing everything off the cuff and live that happens. But hello, and thank you. You guys are more than welcome to ask questions or whatever. We have another 15 minutes, and I'm happy to answer as many questions as I possibly can. I do want to make sure that I go over how to stop any potential, or at least try to protect yourself from bullying, because that's the main part of me actually bringing this up in my first episode. This was not the original plan. It wasn't until Friday when I got this information, and it scared me to death that the subscriber had this happen to her. And so I wanted to make this a point of my very first episode, because this is something that definitely has to be addressed, that we have to keep our eyes open on, and could happen to anyone. Remember, I told you how accomplished she is. I've been a victim of bullying and death threats and these types of things, you guys know. And most people who run YouTube channels or have any kind of presence whatsoever online have, at least at one point or another, been bullied. So I'm going to go over these 4 steps. They're very simple, that will help you to protect yourself from becoming a potential victim of being cyberbullied or stalked. So step number 1 is privacy online. Check your settings and status on every single one of your social media areas. That's something that's extremely important that I think people forget to do. And I have to tell you that I know Twitter's been guilty of this. I don't have a Facebook page, but I understand that Facebook has too. They don't remind you often enough to check your privacy settings. Okay, this is a big one, you guys. Google your own name. See what comes up. See what comes up. You want a good laugh? Google Virgo Triad. You guys will have a good time with that. And it's funny because, obviously, with me exposing con artists, there's going to be things that pop up, crazy things, mostly from the likes of people like Anna Von Reitz, claiming that I'm, some sort of AI and stuff. But, if you Google your own name, you can find out whether or not there's anybody who's actually trying to keep track, whether there's a LinkedIn profile trying to get additional information on you, if somebody's claiming to know you or be a classmate of yours that you have no idea who they are. These are things that you need to check out. Be careful who you give out your email address or your phone number to. I know that seems really like, duh, Virgo. But people forget. They get wrapped up into conversations. They get wrapped up into thinking that they've met somebody who could potentially be a friend, and they're automatically driven to give out an email address at the very minimum, and that's when some of this stuff actually pops up. I just recently found out that somebody who was trolling my YouTube channel had been trolling it for over 6 months. And when I started getting suspicious was when they started asking questions about what platform was I using to do my channel with? What platform was I using if I wanted to do videos on Vimeo? And they started asking some more personal questions like, so where did you go to school at? And stuff like this. At this point, I realized this person I've been talking to for 6 months, but I don't give out personal information. You guys know this. Has been trying to earn my trust through leaving positive comments and liking my videos and so on and so forth. And as a result of that, assumes I'm just going to give up whatever information to them. Now, I mean, it's funny, but it can happen. It can go on for a long time and be happening without you actually even being aware of it. And you don't catch on until it's too late. So be careful about giving out your email address or your phone number. Step number 2, do not respond and do not retaliate. That is the hardest, let me tell you. You guys know I can be a whippersnapper when I get worked up. That is the absolute hardest thing to do, is to not snap back when these people start attacking. But it's really the worst thing that you can do, because as is the case with the Chandler person, it gives them more fodder. And if they know that they're getting to you immediately, they'll just keep going, and it'll get worse, and it'll spread like fire. Step 3, block the bully or the person who's trying to stalk you if possible, which is an obvious. I know a lot of people aren't even aware of how to block people off of certain social network sites, social media sites. So that's something, check into how to block people. And step number 4, save the information and tell someone. This is the one thing that people do not do. that I do every time, and you guys know this. Every time I get a death threat, I'm on the phone with the police and the FBI, and I submit it into IC3 because you can't take any chances and you need to establish a record. Report to the platform that it's on and to law enforcement, local, FBI, IC3, as bullying. That is illegal in most states. Okay, so those are the steps that I would suggest. And let's see. Okay, so Springman, I see that you're stating that you're on hold. Here's the biggest problem here is that this time around, I'm not taking any actual call-ins. I'm only doing the chat. And the reason for that is I still have to learn the actual switchboard. And I wanted to make sure I got my first episode up right away so that everybody had the opportunity to, test out registering, test out the chat, test out. But I still have to learn the actual switchboard. So that will be available probably next week when we do the show. My schedule will be going out at the beginning of next week, so everybody will know. But if you have a question or you want to discuss something, we have about 8 minutes left. Please feel free to send it in the chat. And I see that, yeah, you're on hold. And there's no, I can release you. Do you want me to release you? Just let me know. Because unfortunately it's not going to pick up because the actual switchboard is shut down on my end. Yeah, I need to get the bugs ironed out, Mystic Mountain. This is a learning thing. I'll tell you guys a story. Okay, so when I was about 22 years old, I had a little company that I was trying to build, and it was just, doing some marketing for some people while I was still in school. And it started growing, and I decided I wanted to go in and do a little advertisement, like a 30-second spot during prime time. And so I went in to the studio, and I got in there, and I don't have a problem public speaking. I don't have a problem with just saying whatever on my YouTube channel. I always do everything off the cuff. I don't write a script. I'm sure you guys have noticed. But I walked into the studio, but it required two of us. We were going back and forth with lines. And so the person who was producing the advertisement says, okay, so you guys are going to say your lines to each other, and then we're going to be done. And so we started reading our lines, and it sounded like, you have to talk over each other almost in order to make it sound like you're really legitimately talking to one another. But neither one of us knew what the heck we were doing. The advertisement turned out absolutely horrible. And it was after that occurred, and me not knowing anything about, I'm telling you, I know nothing about this studio stuff. Me not knowing anything about what I was doing, which is what prompted me to take a very, very long class in public speaking. I was so embarrassed. But anyhow, okay, so you're going to stay on hold, Springman? Okay. All right, so what I would like to do is just see what you guys think about this whole situation with stalking. What is it that you guys feel would be helpful in order to stop some of this hatred, stop some of this behavior that seems to be going on literally in every single circle? And I mean, honestly, you guys, if you just log in to kiwifarms.net and look at what they're doing and saying about people, and you'll see what I mean. It's not just a little upsetting. This is just, I mean, it's terrible. It's really terrible. It's breeding hate outside of the actual forum into real life. It's a terrible situation. And I think that, it's something that we need to really seriously talk about. You guys don't have to actually comment on here. When I upload this onto my YouTube channel, the new one, which is YouTube/ Virgo Unfiltered. This is going to be uploaded by the end of the day. And if you guys could leave some comments for me on suggestions that you might have about what you guys think would be helpful. I think the only thing that I know to do in these type of scenarios is to make it more known, to bring it out to the forefront and make people actually face it. That's what I do with the scams. That's how I expose con artists. And I think that's going to have to be the case with this too. And to kind of inform people how to go about protecting themselves before they ever get to the level of it coming out to real life. Okay, you guys, so we're looking at about 4 minutes that are left, and I want to just go over a couple of things that I really kind of need some help with for anybody who's able to, okay? So most of you probably already know about my GoFundMe campaign at gofundme.com, Help Virgo Triad Spread Real Facts. That link is in the actual episode info, and it's, of course, all over my Virgo Triad YouTube channel also. Anybody who could assist with that by either sharing it, donating a small amount to it, whatever you can do to assist with that. I really want this website to get up with the SEO database that will actually combat a lot of this misinformation. And now I have a separate module that can be added to it, because after we get through adding in all of the database information to get this up and running, I would like a separate module that will address some of these hate forums and warn people. And maybe we can get to a point to where we can bring enough awareness that some of these actually shut back down again. The interesting part about this is that they've, over the last 2 years, they've multiplied. The hate talk, the hate speech, the lack of discourse between people of different political parties is creating serious issues. The next thing that I wanted to just mention to you is that if you go to Virgo or go to YouTube/Virgo Unfiltered and subscribe to that YouTube channel, you can listen to the pre-recorded episodes that will be going up every week. And of course, my regular YouTube channel is YouTube/Virgo Triad. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for showing up. I know that this was kind of willy-nilly and very difficult probably, and it was kind of pieced together a little bit, but it's my very first one, so give me a break on the very first one. I'll be much better next week. And also, I wanted to also mention that to the person who assisted with getting me set up on Blog Talk Radio, I know you're out there listening even though you're not signed in. Thank you so much for all of your help. And for everyone, we're going to be looking at talking to support about getting you guys a link to register as a listener. That is really important. The whole purpose for me actually using this platform was so that I could have call-ins and so that I could have chats. And the call-in situation is my fault this time around because of the switchboard, me having to learn the switchboard. But the actual chat situation and you guys being able to sign in, that's something that is totally a platform issue. So I will get that worked out hopefully by the beginning of next week. And I will go ahead at that point and post it on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for putting up with all the technical difficulties, you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and hang it up for today. Thanks again. Bye-bye.